You've probably heard by now that there's new work health and safety legislation coming in 2012. So what does this mean for you as a small business? There are two main areas in the Work Health and Safety Act that will impact on small business when it comes into effect on the 1st of January 2012. These are duty holders and consultation. There are a range of duty holders, that is, people who have responsibilities under the new Work Health and Safety Act. Firstly, there's the PCBU. This is a person conducting a business or undertaking, but it will generally be referred to as the PCBU. The term person can include a company or partnership. The PCBU is the person who has the primary duty of care for health and safety. You don't have to have employees to be a PCBU. There are lots of small businesses who don't employ anybody, however the business is the PCBU. Sometimes there'll be a number of PCBUs simply because different PCBUs are working at the same place at the same time. You'll need to work together and talk to each other to make sure everybody's safe, as what you're doing may impact on the workers of another PCBU. Another duty holder is the worker. The term worker includes employees, but also any person who carries out work for that business. For example, labour hire staff, volunteers, apprentices, contractors, and self-employed people. The definition of a worker is a person who carries out work in any capacity for the business or undertaking. I'll say that again. A person who carries out work in any capacity for the business or undertaking is defined as a worker. Some people may be both a PCBU and a worker. Take for example a contractor. So he's got his own business, he's a PCBU, but then he's hired by another business to do a job, so he's also a worker for that business. There are also others in the workplace. These are people who aren't workers but are visiting the workplace, such as family members of workers. Others now have responsibilities under the legislation to take reasonable care and comply with reasonable instruction. This is new and it puts some of the responsibility or duty back on the individual for their own safety. Finally, officers are duty holders. The idea behind placing a duty on officers is to recognise that companies and other organisations can only act through people. The people who make the decisions for a company or organisation have an important position of responsibility and authority. If you make or participate in making decisions that affect the whole or substantial part of the business, then you're an officer and you must exercise due diligence to ensure that the PCBU meets its health and safety duties. This means that you need to take reasonable steps to have an up-to-date knowledge of work health and safety matters, understand business operations, hazards and risks, ensure the PCBU uses appropriate resources and processes to eliminate or minimise risks to health and safety, ensure the PCBU has processes for receiving, considering and responding to information on hazards and risks in a timely way, ensure the PCBU implements processes for complying with any duty they have, and you also need to verify that all of this is being done. Now this may sound like a lot to do, however you need to remember that an officer is the person responsible for making or participating in making decisions that affect the whole or substantial part of the business. They make the decisions that are going to impact on health and safety. They are not the person who implements a decision that's already been made. A partner in a partnership is specifically excluded from the definition of officer because the partners individually and collectively are the PCBU. But if you are a partner in a partnership, you might find it helpful to look at the duties of an officer as a check to make sure that you are meeting your obligations as a PCBU. Let's look at an example. Peter Smith is a director of a company, Smith's News Agency Proprietary Limited, that owns a news agency and employs 3 full-time staff. In this example, Smith's News Agency is the PCBU and Peter Smith is an officer as he has all the responsibility of making decisions impacting upon the business, including health and safety matters. The 3 staff are the workers and any customers are the others in the workplace. Persons conducting a business or undertaking have a duty to consult with workers. There are a range of methods you can use to consult with your workers. The arrangements you put in place to consult with your workers should take into account the size of your business, how you normally talk with your workers, and what suits the workers. If you already have consultative mechanisms in place for your workers that work, don't get rid of them. Review them with your workers and decide how the existing arrangements can be used or modified to consult with other workers who do work for you. The Work Health and Safety Act allows for a range of mechanisms to consult with workers, ranging from informal, flexible methods such as toolbox talks to formal methods like the election of health and safety representatives by work groups and the forming of safety committees. You may find you need a combination of these mechanisms to consult in different circumstances. The last option for consultation is other arrangements, and many small businesses may already be working with this method under the current legislation. These can continue under the new legislation, but they must be extended to all workers, not just employees. Other arrangements means basically that you and your workers have agreed to your own way of consulting. You might talk about it over morning tea or have your workers bring things directly to you as the boss. That's all okay, providing everybody knows what to do, that you share information with the workers, that workers can express their views and can contribute to the decision-making process, and that the workers are advised of the outcome. It's also a good idea to keep a record of any issues raised. Any arrangements like this have to be agreed with your workers and have to be consistent with the requirements in the legislation. For example, if your workers request health and safety representatives, then you'll need to make a provision for that. Regardless of which method of consultation you and your workers decide to follow, the most important thing to remember is that it needs to work and it needs to be effective. Consultation is all about talking to your workers and deciding together the best way to manage health and safety. The key points are: talk to each other, listen to concerns, seek and share views and information, and consider what your workers say before making a decision. Listen to our short presentation on consultation to find out more. We've focused today on duty holders and consultation because these are two areas that may have an immediate impact on you as a small business from the 1st of January 2012. There are more changes within the new legislation that may apply depending on the type of work you do and the situation you're in, so you do need to familiarise yourself with this new legislation. WorkCover has been providing a lot of information and assistance on the new legislation and will continue to do so, with information being added to our website on a regular basis. You should check it out by clicking on the New Legislation 2012 tab on the homepage of our website. There are a range of resources available, such as frequently asked questions, fact sheets, webinar recordings, and other short information sessions. In the meantime, keep complying with the current legislation. Remember, health and safety is an important part of your business. It's not a backseat job. And safe business really is good business. For additional information on the new work health and safety legislation, check the WorkCover New South Wales or Safe Work Australia websites. The details are on your screens. It's important to remember that health and safety in the workplace is about making your workplace safer so that you and everybody else gets to go home at the end of the day. If you're doing that, then you're on the right track. Thanks very much.